What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of She, Her, They with Kittens. I'm Kittens, and today I've got my friend REZZ on with me. I'm so psyched because she doesn't do this kind of stuff. She doesn't do interviews and podcasts and does not talk about personal life stuff, so I'm really grateful she felt safe to share with me today. We've known each other for quite a long time, and we're also both like fellow half Iranian gay Persian DJs, so we've got the vibes right there. But yeah, REZZ is an incredible DJ, producer, electronic artist who has a fucking massive cult-like following and a beautiful community of fans. Honestly, like everyone is so nice and so cool. It's just wonderful. But yeah, she's just amazing, and I'm really excited for our conversation today. We get into a bunch of stuff about mental health, some struggles that she's gone through that I had no idea about, and how she's dealt with them. All kinds of life lessons and really inspiring stuff around that. Obviously, we get into stuff about identity and relationships and, things of that nature as we do in this space. And then we talk a little bit about music and what she's got to come with her career. So before we get into that, though, please make sure you like and subscribe. Follow She, Her, They on Instagram. It's just at She, Her, They. Also, if you go to www.sheherthey.me, there is links to all kinds of great stuff in the community. So there's a Discord. If you want to make some friends and connect with some cool people, amazing little Discord action going on there. Also, there's a playlist that is fantastic, if I do say so myself. And you can also come find me on Instagram at IamKittens. So yeah, let's jump right into this episode with REZZ. Hi, I'm so glad to have you.
Hello.
What's up? How are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm just chilling, and I just ate an orange, and I have another one here that I was going to eat afterwards, and I am just currently hanging out in Austin. How about you?
Oh, nice. I'm good. I'm just chilling at home in LA, just hanging out. No oranges here. No vitamin C for me, but that's fine. Do you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself for everyone? Your name, pronouns, how you identify, the whole shebang.
I'm REZZ. My real name is Isabel, and I identify as she, her, and I'm a music producer, DJ, and that's about all, I suppose.
Very nice. Yeah, we met each other so long ago, and it's like we share a handful of similar identity factors, which we're obviously going to touch on different identity stuff relating to like people you love and relationship stuff. So I don't know how you identify these days, but as long as you're comfortable talking about that, we can touch on that stuff too. Do you identify with any specific like labels or just
I would, I guess, identify as definitely gay. I mean, I'm in a relationship. I've been dating only like girls for like a while, but I'm in a current relationship with a girl, and yeah, I don't like think too much about the label like so like intensely, you know what I mean? Like I don't but yeah, I guess I would identify as gay.
Okay, so we can go with that. Everyone, some people are very particular about like their labels and how they're talked about. So we gotta just
I'm just kind of like, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely gay. There's no doubt about that. But I just think like I don't like fully just kind of care to be super particular about labels and stuff like that for myself personally.
Yeah, it doesn't like dictate your whole vibe and persona. It just happens to be part of you. Yeah,
definitely.
I know. So your dad's Iranian, right?
Yeah,
and so is mine. And
yeah,
like I always get excited when I meet another fellow gay Persian. So gay Persian and DJ is like, I'm like,
true
this
enough.
is like fucking unicorn vibes over here. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because I feel like I know my experience was very like kind of molded by what I did or did not want to conform to, as far as like who I am, what I'm going to do with my life, how I look. All these things are kind of dictated by a lot of expectations. So how was that for you? Like when you were growing up in general, did you feel like there was some expectations around who you're supposed to be?
Yeah, I suppose so. I think I more on my dad's side, he definitely had more kind of he wanted me to just do very more normal things like, be a doctor, like go to university, like all this kind of stuff. Like he definitely had expectations of that. In regards to who I would end up with and all of that, like definitely no. I'm very fortunate. I think my family was always very like if anything, when I was like in high school and like dating guys and stuff at that age, like if anything, my dad was like, no, like you can't have any of those like gross boys like over like at the house. Like that was like the vibe then. But like it is funny because like later when when like my whole family realized that I was gay, it was like it was almost like they preferred that for me. They're like, okay, good, like at
No
least she'll be
scary
with like
men.
yeah, exactly. It's like it was kind of like a like I'm obviously very fortunate in that regard, but
Yeah.
yeah, they were like super supportive and just like it was not even a thing. Like like when
Wow.
it yeah, like when it was known that I liked girls, it was just kind of like yeah, true enough. Like anyways, like
Wow.
yeah, they didn't
Damn,
really
that's tight.
yeah, I definitely yeah. I think my parents were both really cool in that way. I feel like ever since I was like a kid, I was always able to just dress how I want. Like I like shaved my head when I was a kid because I
Oh
didn't want to
wow.
brush my yeah, like I didn't want to brush my hair. Like that was my reason. It wasn't like there was
Wow.
nothing else. Yeah, it was like I don't want to brush my hair, so I like shaved my head and like I like always wore kind of I don't know, like baggier clothing and like stuff like that. And like it just did a lot, like played a lot of sports and hung out with like just all the guys all the time and like all this stuff. And like my parents just never questioned or made me wear anything or like be a certain way, like which I'm like definitely super grateful for. But in regards to the career situation, I mean, that's kind of a whole other story because like
Yeah.
my mom super open with anything. Like her perspective is like, oh, if my daughter wants to live with me forever, that'd be amazing. So like when I was working on music in my parents' basement for like a couple of years before things started to like kind of pop off, like
Mhm.
definitely I had a lot of like my dad was like super unhappy with like my life decisions of like skipping on going to college and just staying home for that particular year after high school. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I was at that time I was like 18 and like it didn't bother me at all for some reason that like people not only my dad but like felt like no one really kind of like believed in my visions for like my future and stuff like that. So and I just wasn't really bothered by it, thankfully. I feel like my it's funny because I feel like now I would be more bothered by it. Like I'm 27 now.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm 27 now and it's funny. I like look back on my like well, I was 18. I was like very like naive, you know what I mean, in a lot of ways and like I wasn't aware of like all of the potential challenges that would come or or any of the potential like, like I don't know. It's almost like I was like oblivious to like what it would actually be like to try and become successful in like a field of like music, for example. Like there's like so
Yeah.
many people who make music and like all this stuff, but it's like I was like so oblivious to it and I was like, no. I'm like 100% going to like become successful at this and it was like my like blindness to the world at the time was like super good because it just like kept me focused and
Yeah,
like
it was a
able to
perk.
it was perfect. It was amazing. It's definitely made me able to like ignore like any hate along the way. Whereas like sometimes as you age, you kind of like learn more about the world and they almost become a little bit more afraid of the world because there's like
Yeah.
because like you real like the reality sets in like the world is definitely a scary place and like there's a lot
Yeah.
of things that can go wrong and all this stuff. So it's like yeah, but during that time I was just very like no, everything's fine actually and everything's
Wow.
perfect all the time and I'm just going to continue to like live this way of just like like I'm just gonna become successful and like there was no other question to be asked. It was like pretty
Wow.
yeah.
Shit. I mean, that's so beautiful. It's like you got to hold on to this childlike freedom and like
Yeah.
not what's the word? Yeah, naivety. I was gonna say ignorance, but like it's like a blissful ignorance to how fucked up shit can be and how hard things are out
Exactly.
there.
Yeah, like you said, a blissful ignorance. I honestly yeah, like that's definitely how I feel like I actually went about probably the majority of my life, honestly.
Wow.
Up until more recently actually. I feel
So
like
what changed? Like
um
why?
I'm trying to think about well, this year actually specifically has been like extremely shockingly insane for me, like in like a mental health kind of way, like that I've
Mm.
never experienced before. And I definitely wanted to like kind of touch on that a little bit because I'm so private. Like I don't like tell anyone like
Yeah, I
anything.
feel like
Like
you
yeah,
don't ever do shit like this either, which I'm
no,
like
never.
so like grateful that you were like, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, no, because this is exactly the kind of interview that I would love to do. Is just like to like simply just like talk and have like kind of like a video kind of interview. That's the kind of stuff I'm down for. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, this year has been really odd. Like, you know how everyone said like post pandemic, it was really common that a lot of people had like a lot of anxiety, like a lot of like depression during the pandemic, but especially afterwards, a lot of people did
Yeah.
too, because it was like so many people were so used to like being in the comfort of their own homes all the time and like in that stillness all the time, and then getting like thrown back into like reality and like the chaos, right?
Hmm.
And in my case, with like obviously the career that I have is like very, very high intensity, high pressure, like all this stuff. Basically, like what happened for me was like everything was all well in like 2021, like everything super. I was like I enjoyed actually having the time off in the pandemic, because right
Yeah.
before the pandemic in 2019 I really, really burned myself out, like, and like overworked.
You tour like fucking crazy.
the,
So
these days
like
it's these days it's more chill, but at that time it was like really, really insane. And like for years and years I did it. For like 6 years I basically, no, like, yeah, like maybe like 5 6 years, like straight heavy touring, like nonstop. And like somehow for so long I was like cool with it, but like was I really though? Like I feel like I was like struggling along the way, and it was like it was interesting. Like I felt like basically even throughout the first few years of my touring, I felt it was kind of difficult in a lot of ways. Like I like just loved to be home. I was like such a homebody, and like I loved to play the shows and stuff, but like the travel aspect and like the exhaustion, and
it's a
especially
lot.
the time changes and like all of that stuff if you're doing like
Yeah.
international stuff. So basically, long story short, 2019, super burnt out. Then the pandemic happened. So I was actually enjoying the time to like chill and like work on
Hmm.
music and like kind of like relax, right? And then 2021 happened, and then things started to open up again, but it was still super chill. I only had like 1 2 shows like a month maybe, or like maybe 1 month there was like 3 shows, 1 month there was like five, but like for the most
Hmm.
part it was super chill. Then what happened was we had this big tour planned, like my Spiral tour. It was for my album.
Hmm.
And this is when things like became very interesting. Like it was it's almost like it's crazy to try and explain this in like a nutshell, because it was like so insane and just like whatever, but I'm going to just try my best to explain. But
Okay.
so basically we had planned this tour like for 2021, for 2021, but we had to obviously cancel it because of the pandemic was still kind of like, a
Raging.
thing. Yeah, so we had to postpone it for 2022. And so basically this already felt a little bit dated for me, first of all, because I was like, this is already old music for me. I already made this like 2 years ago. It's
Right.
like it felt right away, it felt kind of dated for me. Second of all, it was the most expensive tour I have ever had. It was the most I've ever put into it in regards to like paying for production. Like it just an obscene amount of money to like pay for this tour and all this stuff. What ended up feeling like was, it almost felt like I was going to either like end up losing a bunch of money on the tour, or like all this stuff, and like everything was just felt very stressful. And obviously on top of that, it was the most amount of shows that I had ever done for a tour, for a
Oh
headline
fuck.
tour, yeah, and not to mention I was still in pandemic mode. Like I was still in like
Right.
chill, like I was still in chill mode. Like
That's
I
like a
didn't
big,
want,
big
yeah,
adjustment.
yeah. And so it's so crazy to talk about this because like it, like from the outside point of view, like I remember during this tour I was getting so many tweets like, Rez is at her prime, like this is the best show, like she is at her prime. And like no one even knows what I was going through like during
Aw.
that time. It was like really intense. Basically what really happened was, this is where like the plot twist happens that I didn't mention yet. This is when things got like scary for me. So
Oh no.
basically it was like January, and No, it was like January, and my tour was about to start in February. The tour was going to start on like February 17th, I believe. And all of a sudden, I'm like chilling. I'm in love. I'm happy as shit. Like I'm literally like everything else, everything in my life is like going perfectly, right? And then all of a sudden, because of I think I still don't know if this is for sure the reason it happened. It's such a question mark. But my guess is that because of my stress about the tour and my kind of like reluctance towards the tour and how much I was like dreading like being so in the public again and like doing all this stuff. Here's what happened. All of a sudden I got slapped with a crazy case of insomnia.
Oh
And
fuck.
so here it sounds so like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Let me explain.
No, that's intense. If anyone's gone through
It
insomnia, they know like that is
so
it's debilitating, and you start like you can straight up start hallucinating after 2 days
oh
of
yeah.
insomnia. Like it's fucked up.
Yeah, so the thing was for me too. So there's like so many things to touch on here, but basically, like when I did in 2019 when I said I burnt myself out, there was one moment where I was in China, and what happened was I went multiple days basically without sleeping, and that was just because of like heavy touring schedule. And then I remember there was this moment where I was like, I really need to sleep. Like this is my time period to sleep before the next travel, which I had about like I don't know how many hours I had, but I had a certain amount of hours of sleep. And this is where it like kind of like the seed was planted during this time. I was having such a hard time falling asleep. And I remember starting to feel insane about it because I was like, I have to sleep now because I haven't really slept in days and I have to do it now. And this is my time. And because I was trying to force myself to sleep, I couldn't, right?
Right.
And so I ended up having like this crazy thing happen in China. This was years ago, but it was like I had like a really insane like sleep deprivation related kind of psychosis like
Oh
situation.
fuck. Yep.
Yeah, and like I didn't even tell anyone about that either, which is really funny, but like it was really intense. I ended up finishing the rest of the travel in China and all was well and that was it. I didn't think about it again. But then for this February, all of a
Wait,
sudden
rewind. Hold on. What do you mean you're like what was this psychosis moment? And you just glazed over that like it was no big deal. Like
well, I mean, like you mentioned about like what you start to
hallucinating
like
and stuff.
hallucinating stuff when you
Yeah.
like don't sleep, like when you don't sleep for like multiple
Just
days.
like
It was like,
that kind of vibe.
and the other thing too was like at the time, what I was taking was little bits of melatonin. I was trying to force myself on the China sleeping schedule, so I would take melatonin at what felt like 2 p.m. Toronto time, but it was actually 2 a.m. in China. So I would like
Fuck.
try and take melatonin and stuff. But here's the thing: if you take, and I don't know if anyone else like has had this experience, but I have, and it is if you take melatonin during a time that you're not actually going to fall asleep, like you can really like enter some pretty it's like you're half awake half asleep, so you're like dreaming
Yeah.
and like awake and like it's a lot of like
A
sleep
weird lucid
paralysis.
space. Oh
Yeah, a
god.
weird lucid
Yeah.
space. And so that ended up making me just freak out. Like I was just like, what is happening? And it was just like I was basically just like hallucinating a bunch and like it's like I was like sort of hearing things and stuff like that, but it was because I was half awake half asleep, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was like I was like in a daze.
Yeah.
And then I still couldn't fall asleep because when I crossed the threshold of like X amount of hours not sleeping, it became even more difficult to then fall asleep. It was really weird. Yeah,
Fuck. Yeah.
because you get put in this like wired state, right?
Yeah.
So that was that, and that was really at the time traumatic for me. Like I remember thinking like it was like really intense and I was like I really need to take a break from touring, and then like the pandemic happened. So it was like then I had this
Perfect
huge
timing.
break. Yeah, and so I was able to like totally forget that even happened and like move on and like not even think about it, and like everything was fine. Like everything was my sleeping was fine. Everything was normal. Like it was all good. But then, as I mentioned, that was like the original seed that got planted about like fear of like relation to sleep. So basically what ended up happening though was February 1st or something hit, February 2nd or something. Just keep in mind, I'm very happy at this time. So once again in love with my girlfriend. We are like so happy, everything's amazing. All of a sudden my tour's coming up and all of a sudden I was unable to sleep. Like all of a sudden I had a couple days. I was like one day I stayed up till like 7 a.m., ended up falling asleep and woke up like 2 hours later. And then the next day it was like kind of the same thing. And then the next day it was the same thing, 3 days in a row.
Oh
And so
no.
I went into immediate panic mode about it, right? Because I was like, I
Yeah.
have a tour that I have to do. Like, and I'm already like highest stress about this tour. I'm already like freaking out about this, right? Whatever, whatever. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get like so personal with you about this
No,
situation,
yeah.
which like it's crazy that I'm even like sharing it, but like I just kind of want to explain it because without question, I would be lying if I just said like this year has been fucking awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna explain because this has been a major part of it. And basically, what ended up happening was I was like talking to my manager and like talking to like doctors and like all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck is happening to me? Like, why can't I sleep? Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. I'm about to start my tour in like a week. Like, and I most certainly can't handle like, you know, being extremely severely sleep deprived while like having a major tour, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so and so what ended up happening was I out of and here's the thing, I this all happened because of panic. This all happened because of anxiety. Like
Yeah.
if I had just been aware that like this was gonna pass and that like I didn't need to take any medication for it or anything, then I would have if I had just stayed calm during the whole process, none of this would have happened. But
But that's so hard to
because
do. It's so hard to
yeah,
stay like chill when you feel like you don't have control over your
yeah,
body, and resting. Like it's so
especially
important. That looks like pickle
especially
juice. What's in it?
it's lemon
Oh, okay.
water.
I was like, are those fucking pickles floating? Sorry,
But
continue.
no worries. But basically like right away without even being patient to wait it out because of my anxiety, which I have had throughout my whole kind of 20s. Like I never
Mhm.
had anxiety before that though. Remember I told you I was like 18 and like oblivious to the world. So
Yeah.
like I had zero anxiety like my whole life up until my 20s. And then I got slapped so hard with it. And now I'm
Fuck.
just like yeah, so then it became a huge thing in this moment. So basically long story short, I ended up getting prescribed this thing called Ambien, and
Oh
Ambien,
no.
yeah. So it gets pretty crazy.
Oh shit.
So basically, what ended up happening was I was like having once again struggles. I didn't want to resort to taking it or anything like that because I was like, no, I'm just gonna wait. But then it got so bad, like the insomnia got so bad that I was like, I literally need to take something for this because once again, I'm not canceling this tour. I was, by the way, I almost canceled this tour. I'm not joking, probably like 50 times. Like
Oh
I
my
literally had
god.
conversations with my manager going back. Like it was he was like petrified for me. Like everyone was petrified for me during this time. Like it was really intense. So I started to take
Shit.
Ambien at night, and it was definitely working. So it would work and knock me out, whatever, whatever. And here's the thing that they didn't tell me about the medication that like someone really should have told me is that there's a couple of things. A, if you take it more than like 2 weeks and you take it continually, it like can definitely like cause like depression and also like kind of like depressive feelings and like stuff like that. And the other thing was that when you stop taking it, if you stop taking it suddenly, then there's rebound insomnia.
Oh
So,
god.
so no one told me about this, and it's so crazy. And I think everyone was just in such a panic because it was like if I was going to cancel this tour, it was going to like be a massive deal on so many levels. And like I also didn't want to cancel it because even though at that moment my like mental sanity and like health was like definitely teetering, I still had this value that like I made this commitment to do this
Yeah.
tour. And so it was like because that's one of my values as well, I did it. And I'm glad that I did it, by the way, in retrospect. But there was I can't even tell you some crazy shit that happened during that tour. Like all in relation to I didn't realize that like taking the Ambien there was going to become like a dependency on it. And like by the
Yeah.
way, of course a difference between addiction and like dependency.
Yeah.
I've never been addicted to anything before, but I became dependent on this medication. And like
It's really intense, and there's so many crazy side effects with it. Like people start straight up sleepwalking, doing all kinds of wild shit on Ambien.
yeah, for sure. I actually didn't experience any of that, but
Mhm.
for me for a while I didn't notice any really side effects, but what I did notice was that the random days that I didn't take it because I didn't think that I needed to, I didn't sleep at all, not a single second. Yeah, so there was times where I ended up playing shows where I didn't sleep for 2 days, like
Oh my
55 hours.
god.
Yeah, like I was at Okeechobee, like I literally headlined Okeechobee and I didn't sleep for 55 hours, like
Oh my
nothing. And I
god.
yeah, and it was like it was so crazy. Like I can't even explain to you. It was like you know what though? I actually had fun at that show. I think it was like I reached this certain part, like I reached this certain moment of like sleep deprivation that I was like almost having like a weird god complex. Like it was like, oh my god, like I can stay awake for this long and like do these things and like play these
Oh my
shows and like be
god.
fine. And I was like kind of like having a moment of
Yeah.
like whoa, like, and I was like doing a bunch of crazy shit, like taking like like really cold showers, like I was like super influenced by that like Iceman Hoff dude, but
Hmm.
he was like because he liked he's like all about like dunking himself in like ice water and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of benefits to it. So like
Yeah,
while
yeah.
being sleep deprived and like
Oh.
jumping in like cold water, it was like making my brain do like insane things.
Your
But
body was probably tripping the fuck
oh,
out.
it was
Like,
tripping the fuck out. Yeah. And then I would end up taking like Ambien again, and then I would pass out for another like 8 hours and wake up being totally fine. But the thing was then I also noticed that another thing was when I didn't take it, I felt like a lot of night I had like crazy nightmares and shit.
mhm.
But this was still not when it was really bad. Like the worst part
This is not really
was
bad.
no, it got worse.
Oh
Yeah. So
fuck.
what ended up happening was I did like all my shows. Like I got through all of them and all this stuff. But then I had this like break, and I had like this month break before my tour would continue. So I said to myself and like everyone in my life, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like stop taking this for sleep now. And so I ended up stopping taking it abruptly. Well, actually, what happened was it stopped working. So it stopped working, and all of a sudden, I went like 3 days basically without like sleeping, and then and I was like, this isn't working anymore. And so everyone was like doctors and stuff, like as they do, are like take a higher dose, and I'm just like, hell no.
That's
I
not
forgot
the
to
answer.
yeah, and I forgot to mention too that like at this point I had already started to feel like depressed kind of, and I've never
Mhm.
experienced depression in my entire life, by the way. Like so this my I'm really grateful for this experience. I just want to add because my mind now is so open and like I just understand and like I understand I think a lot more about like what people go through and like mental stuff and like how it can
Yeah.
be like getting out of that negative spot that I was in was three times more difficult than becoming successful. Like that's the way I view
Wow.
it. Like becoming successful
And that's with
was
like all of the resources. Like you had, doctors and access to all
yeah,
kinds of support systems. So like
yeah,
that's so important to know. It was
yeah,
still
and
that
like
hard with all that.
I was definitely feeling like super defeated at that point because like this like medication that I was prescribed like stopped working and then I was like I'm just going to stop taking it. So I stopped taking it and then I had a crazy rebound insomnia. So I ended up going about 6 days without sleeping
Oh my god.
and then I went to the hospital. Yeah, so it was like really intense. Yeah, like my girlfriend and I we like went to the hospital. It was like super intense. I was like just like a zombie and like I was still like kind of like her and I were still kind of like trying to make light as much as we could of the situation and like still like try and watch the shows that we watch and like all this stuff, but like
Yeah.
I was not well. Like my anxiety was like I can't even explain to you. Like it is like stopping a medication suddenly also is probably not
So
wasn't the
bad for
best
you.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm sure plenty of people could have suggested to take smaller doses, but I just became so over it because I was like, this is making me sad. Like I've never felt
Yeah.
like this before. Like this is definitely making me feel like a lack of hope and a lack of excitement towards life. And
Yeah.
I've always been very optimistic and excited and like stoked on life. And I was like, this is weird. Something is like bringing me down. And I was like, it has to be this medication. So, anyways,
Mhm.
I stopped taking it. And that's when I experienced the severe backlash of the insomnia, of like the post Ambien insomnia. And then, so that was like easily the worst week of my life. Like, no questions asked. Yeah.
So how did you recover from that?
So then what I ended up doing was, by the way, I was definitely talking to like therapists and stuff like throughout like the situation, which was definitely helpful. I do think like talking to someone is one piece of the puzzle. I don't think it's
Yeah.
like the problem solver. I just think it is a piece, like when you're going through anything, like everyone's going through some shit, like everyone, some people are going through grief, some people are going through severe depression, severe anxiety, some people are going through all sorts of things, medical problems, whatever.
Yeah.
For me, it just so happened to be this
That.
insomnia thing, like this
Yeah.
that just so happened to be like the thing for me. And like, and basically what I did was I just stopped taking it. And during that week we just kind of tried, like me and my girlfriend, we just kind of tried to like do things as normal as possible. I was working out. I was going for walks. I was forcing myself to like walk up and down this like one hill near my spot here. And so I would like walk up and down the hill a lot. And because my mind at that time during that week, it was racing thoughts, like the loudest thoughts ever. It was like almost as if the way to describe it is if like you're super stoned, like you just ate like an edible or something, and like you're too high off of like the weed, and like your brain feels like it's like really
Yeah.
loud. Like
Yeah.
that's how like kind of severe my anxiety felt
Oh.
during that moment. So in order to kind of help that, what I was doing was I was walking up and down this hill a lot. I was starting to bike again, and I was like watching kind of inspirational videos on YouTube that I have always found inspiring and insightful, like a lot of like psychological and like philosophical videos, and a lot of
Mm.
like self mastery and like, you know, becoming the best version of yourself type videos,
Oh, you
which
have to send
was,
me links. I love that kind of
yeah,
shit.
I love that shit too. I think it's actually extremely important to like stay on top of that. At
Totally.
least for me, it was. It has always been. So it was all these little kind of steps I was taking. I would also still take a little bit of like melatonin, like whatever, and like kind of natural supplements, like like a more natural stuff. There's like,
Just to
I
try
don't
and
know,
regulate your
yeah,
system. Yeah.
yeah, because like, yeah, just to kind of regulate it. And like it was crazy. It was like every day that I ended up like the sleep ended up getting better and better. Like it was like one day I got 2 hours, one day I got 4 hours, one day I got one day I got seven, one like it was kind of
Yeah.
like, you know, it was kind of like a little, like it was unpredictable. And what I was trying
Hmm.
to do was, in that moment, was just try my best to learn to be comfortable with discomfort. And that, and basically like not to be too hard on yourself, because you know one day like if I only slept like 2 hours, it was so important for me to not just have like a meltdown about it and be like, fuck,
Yeah.
like what the fuck, because like healing anything is not linear. And that's one
Totally.
of the main things that I like learned, and I still continue to learn in my life, like throughout the process of like any healing, whether, you know, someone went through a breakup, or like I said, someone's going through like heavy grieving or whatever, like that kind of healing, it's not just like up, like,
Just
you know, like it's
waves.
like
Yeah.
or like drug addiction, you know, like
Yeah.
and
Some days
this
are
is
easier, some days are harder.
yeah, definitely. And like that was something that I have been really kind of focusing on understanding, and that like some days are going to be absolutely terrible, and like for whatever reason I might not be able to sleep for a different reason. Like say
Mm.
like some nights not everyone gets like a perfect sleep. Like
Yeah.
one day, like if I have to wake up at like 4 a.m. to go to the airport or something, I'm probably not going to sleep at all. And like in that moment, it's like you kind of just got to like learn to like roll with like the punches, you know, and like just
Yeah.
know that like not every day is going to be like perfect, and not every day is
Hmm.
going to like be like you're not going to feel great every day, especially if you're like healing from something. And I think
Yeah.
it's like that was like one thing, because I was like I was so hard on myself during the process, because I was like during that whole process, this was like a few months ago, by the way.
Hmm.
It was like I was so hard on myself because I was like, why is this happening to me? Like, you know, like kind of questioning, like the way that my mind was working was like it was like me versus myself. It was like I was like angry at myself as like,
Hmm.
why is my body not operating in the way that I want it to
I mean,
operate, and like all this stuff.
it's such a control thing too, because it's
For
like
sure.
when you are not able to control the situation, and then all this anxiety comes from it, and the expectations of it. It's like the only way to really heal and move on and like let things go is to just surrender to the waves of it, and like no, yeah, it's gonna be up and down, and like I just got to let it do what it needs to do. Obviously you can like do all the little supportive things, take supplements and like be healthy, but
Yeah.
you can't control everything sometimes, and
For
that
sure.
is fucking hard to deal with. Like,
Yeah, and the other thing too that was like really, really like I truly believe I'm like a changed person after this. Like I feel like because for me that was my vulnerability spot. Like my vulnerability
mm,
spot was like like was sleep. So I felt like there was moments in that during like that deep kind of hell that I was experiencing. There was moments that I was like literally like it felt like the worst possible scenario. Like it literally felt like I would have chosen anything other than that. Like literally like take off like it was like literally take off my fucking arm rather than this. Like I'm not even
wow,
joking. I felt for me it felt so redundant and so repetitive that it was like actually it felt like the end of my world. Like that's what it felt
yeah.
like.
I
And
mean, you're
so the fact
suffering, and your nervous system is all
yeah,
fucked up on top of that. Like, that's not
yes.
tight.
Yeah, exactly. And so my point behind saying that is like this was my personal hell. Like everyone would have their own personal hell. Like if you imagine like what your one of your greatest fears is, all this stuff. One of my greatest fears is losing my mind, you know? And like when you're slow sleep deprived and like so anxious, it feels like you're losing your mind,
Yeah,
right? So it was definitely my thing and the fact that I've been able to like heal and continue to heal through this situation because of course not every day is perfect, right? And
yeah,
like some nights I'm like fucking everything's perfect and then other nights sometimes I'm just like not able to sleep right away and like in those moments I'm still learning to like be kind of like chill, you know, even though it
yeah,
happens so much less now and like happened like so it's like it's not nearly as frequent as it used to be. It's still like you know in those moments it's still a practice for me to like remain like neutral and understand that like it's some days just aren't going to be well and that
mhm,
also the other thing is like no matter what I think people are healing from and like going through it sometimes feels like all of the little baby steps you're taking are not doing anything like for
yeah,
example like when I would like go and like walk up and down this hill like 30 times and I would like go for a bike ride and I would like take a cold shower and I would eat super healthy and I would watch all these inspirational videos. Sometimes it almost felt like nothing was enough and that was like
mhm,
nothing was changing anything. But then as you continue to like you know enforce those habits for weeks and months and whatever you look back and you're like oh shit like
yeah,
it all did add up like the little therapy session that you had the little walk that you had the hangout that you had with your friend where you talked about it or you know like you ate healthier for like a while and like all this stuff all of it
yeah,
does end up contributing to making things better and that's one of the key things that I learned too because I feel like next time and you know life will continue to throw random obstacles in like all of our ways but like I think now I'm very aware that like no matter literally no matter what anything throws up like whatever life throws at me now I'm like this will be easy compared to like what the fuck I just
yeah,
went through and like literally since then more than ever I appreciate the littlest things like I appreciate like waking up and like making food and like being able to eat it because of my appetite's there and like
right.
because I barely had an appetite because I was like it was so anxious right so
You're,
like just
yeah,
yeah so like even just being present and like going for a walk and like looking at the tree and just like being present in the moment that I am standing here looking at this tree and my
mhm,
brain is at peace like every moment just feels like so incredible now because it's just like I'm appreciating the very simple like mundane things of like even just having a sane mind you know what I mean
yeah. I mean, I feel
yeah
like sleep is one of the most basic. I mean, one of the most basic human needs. So to have that taken away from you
yeah
is enough to make you really be like, fuck, like I'm
yeah
grateful. I'm grateful,
yeah
and
for
I see
sure
what's up. And it's so interesting that, like, with the anxiety part of it, the more you focused on, like, I need to sleep, I need to sleep, I need to
mm-hmm
sleep, the less your body was letting you sleep because you're putting all that energy towards it, and it just like kind of builds up. And I think that
yeah
totally applies to so many aspects of life, because
hugely
we don't, a lot of times, we want that control, we don't want to surrender to the process or to whatever, or like trust in ourselves, or trust like the way things are supposed to flow, and it just kind of makes the situation worse when it doesn't need to be,
Definitely. Yeah, it's like yeah,
so
because
it's such
we
a
cling
lesson.
to it. I couldn't
Yeah,
agree more.
yeah,
It's wild.
Wow, that's fucking nuts. I had
Yeah,
no idea.
I know. I
God.
didn't tell, because I didn't tell anyone. Like I've
Yeah.
been really generally pretty private. I mean, even me talking about my girlfriend on here. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been so private. Like, only all my close friends do I like post about it, and like and I just really prefer to kind
You
of.
guys are so cute too. It's like disgusting. I love
Thank
it.
you. I love her. She's literally like the best ever. It's the most healthy, most calm, like chill, nurturing. Like, we're just on the exact same vibe. Like, literally, like no arguing, no nothing. We're just
Healthy
like
and chill.
chilling. Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
chilling. Like, that's it. And like, yeah, we live together, and like, I don't know. I still visit like Canada as well, here and there. I go back and forth a little bit,
Hmm. You guys are
but
based out
yeah,
in
like,
Austin though, mostly.
yeah. Mhm.
That's nice. What do you think
But
was,
yeah.
because like we've both in our time of knowing each other gone through some toxic shit with people we were dating. And there's no better learning experience than when you're suffering, unfortunately.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
what do you think was like, because like I know like I had a major history pattern of like dating people that made me feel the same things over and over and over, and I once I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. What am I doing that's making me think subconsciously I deserve this, because I need to break the pattern? And so I like figured it out and whatever, and then everything changed, and now I'm like happy and have a like healthy beautiful relationship. So I realized my thing was like self-worth. Like deep down, I didn't feel like I deserved stability. I didn't think I deserved happiness and peace because I was so used to chaos and that was familiar. So I craved it. So
Right.
did you have a moment where, like a light bulb moment where you're like, what the fuck? I deserve something different. And how did you kind of like pivot your, I don't know, your magnet for people to draw you to somebody that was
um
so healthy and peaceful and like good for you?
well, yeah, I mean, one thing for sure that I will mention is that I don't really have too much of like let me just try to like think of how to word this. Like, I definitely have not always been the most perfect angel myself. Like, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it's like, it's not so much about, like, oh, I deserve better, or like anything like that. Like,
Right.
I have had multiple situations of, me making my mistakes, someone else most certainly making their mistakes, this and that, whatever, whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about what like someone else did and like anything
Right.
like that. I think over
Yeah, we all
time,
play a role.
yeah, like, some situations I think I learned a lot from, because I realized that I didn't want to be that kind of person. Like, of course, like nothing fucking over the top, but just general basic, like, you're in your early 20s, like fucking
Yeah,
whatever, like,
nobody's really like
yeah,
that
like,
wonderful then.
I mean, who's perfect at like fucking
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
So my point is that sorry, this is so funny. My point is that, like, I learned a lot through observing my own self and things that I didn't really like about things maybe that I have done or said in the past. And then, on the contrary, I was also experienced the opposing situation, where I was most certainly being mistreated in like a multitude of ways and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually, after, years of trial and error, as everyone dates a couple people here and there, whatever, you kind of for me, I just kind of got a really clear understanding of what I would want and what I definitely wouldn't want, and like how I want to be, and like the way that I want to
Mm-hmm.
be like the best version of myself. And like, I just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. And then I ended up like, meeting my girlfriend like a while ago, and it just all everything was just like straight away, we're just like on the same page, and it was like super chill. And like, we have this like general, we've each had our own little experiences, and like, neither of us want anything that's rocky and unstable, and neither of us want anything that is like, shouting and like yelling. That's not even my nature, you know what I mean? Like, all that
Yeah.
stuff, like, just like, just talking to each other meanly, like, in meanly, is that a fucking
Yeah.
word?
I
Me
don't, it's a word
Meanly.
now.
Yeah,
It's a word
but
now.
yeah, like, I don't know, just like neither of us it's pretty simple. It's like, do you want to have a calm, chill, nurturing, loving, happy relationship, or do you not? Like, you know what I mean? And like
Yeah. Yeah.
both of
It's
you guys just
totally a
kind of,
choice.
it is a choice, yeah. And both of you, it's important that both people are kind of on the same page, and like both people have experienced, of course, like good things, bad things, whatever. And you kind of like take all of this information and collect it all together, and know like what you will, like what you want and what you will not take, like what, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
like for
Mhm.
you, like you said, it was a lot of like um lack of like kind of like self-love and like stuff like that. And yeah, and that's like also a huge part of like evolving and growing and like learning through these like bad situations that we all have experienced in one way or another. Like you just end up learning like, oh, I did not deserve this, or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. And then you learn like what you do deserve and what you want, and everything like that. And then it kind of becomes easier to dodge those situations, you know?
Mhm.
Like I couldn't
Mhm.
fathom being in a situation like that, like now, like it literally, if like anyone even like raised their voice at me, like I'd be like
Bye. Running for the fucking hills.
yeah, I'd
Yep.
be like, no thank you, it's just like not part of
Yeah.
my, like that's not what I want. So it's like,
Yeah. It just doesn't align.
yeah, definitely. It just and it becomes, once again, it becomes more easy as you experience things. Some people don't even have to go through that chaos. Some people just like
I know.
naturally find their partner and
You
they're
know
just
what
like
though?
chilling. Yeah.
But they don't. Honestly, like there I know so many people like I have over the years where like I'm like, why can't I be like you? Where you have this like great whatever. And they still have their struggles. They just are able to like, or they happen to go through them with somebody that they are connected to for longer periods of time. So on the outside, it maybe seems super healthy, great, and easy, but they're going through their growth reflection shit with another person.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah, without question. That's actually one of the
yeah,
other things I definitely realized this year is like literally everyone is going through their own shit. Like literally
yeah,
everyone. Like some people are just more vocal about it. I think I'm pretty vocal. Like not in public, I'm not vocal
mhm,
about it, but I'm very vocal about it if you know me. Like if for
yeah,
like, you know, if I like talk to people, like I don't hide anything. Like you know what I mean. But like everyone is going through shit.
yeah. I think it's like it. There's types of people who are like, I'm super analytical, so anytime anything with myself or with somebody else is away, I'm like, why? Let me fucking open the hood
Yeah,
and figure out like why and
yeah.
tinker around and see what's going on. So I mean, it's it's just interesting. It's just interesting. Like, and I think it helps too because this is one thing I've really learned, especially throughout like the pandemic in the last couple of years. Like, I feel like people, especially in different parts of life, or especially in like a profession that maybe is creative or you're a bit more isolated or whatever, it's harder to maintain like a kind of friendship community or certain relationships. Like you maybe have your like few close people and like, you know, those are your relationships that you have the energy for. I think sometimes, especially in the last few years, people will take it really personally. Like so and so isn't responding to me, and they're not giving me the attention. They're not making time for me, and you know they don't want to be my friend anymore, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everyone is going through so much shit, and that is the ultimate like compassion for other people's shit is the ultimate medicine for any issues like that, because when
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
you're taking it personally, someone's not responding to you or they're not making time to see you or whatever, and you go like, oh, it must be me, I'm not good enough, they don't want to be my friend, I'm not cool enough, I'm not this or that. And it's like, no, they're fucking like they're spiraling in their own mess of shit right now, and
Yeah.
they have no energy to put towards anything other than that. Like
Yeah, that's very
it's
true.
it's so
It's
crazy.
it's interesting that you say that because it's actually so true. I've noticed that a little bit more this year as well in regards to people becoming a little bit upset or taking things personally if
Mhm.
I was distant or like anything like that, you know? And yeah, I definitely, you're just totally right. Like everyone, this year's been pretty crazy. I've seen a lot of people kind of experience their own fair share of like things this year and like their own kind of way. And yeah, I don't know. It's definitely important not to take things personal. There's no doubt about that. Like I feel like I personally never ever feel bothered if someone. Of course, I would feel this way if my girlfriend or something like didn't respond and be like, oh,
Mm.
like where's
Be
like
like,
how
what the
come
fuck?
like, but
Tell me why you're not responding, and then I'll give you space. Don't ghost. What the fuck?
yeah, no, of course. But I mean, like I feel like generally with like friendships and stuff in my life, I've always really enjoyed kind of like low maintenance kind of stuff, like friendships
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So sometimes if I don't respond or something, and it takes me like a while, like I love it when people are like kind of like super easygoing about it, because I try to give that same energy back. Like if I ever message
Yeah.
someone and they don't respond to me, I would never get upset about it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just like, I just understand, like, oh, they're probably busy, and like that's that. Like,
Yeah.
I'll
They're
be
busy or
busy.
they forgot, and like that's
Yeah,
human.
and I think it's also super important to always, like, I don't know how to. I'm trying to explain how to say this, but like, I think it's also important not to give too much that you're not receiving. So like, if you're messaging somebody
Mm.
like a bunch of times or something, they're not responding, like, also be aware, like, maybe this is your cue to like not message them so much. Like
Read the
maybe it's
room.
just, yeah, read
Read
the
the
room,
room.
and kind of like, this is the cue to like just focus on your own things, and like not cling too much about the fact that this person isn't talking to you as much as they
Yeah.
used to, or like anything. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of just flow with like the nature of things. Like, if you should never want to give someone way more than you're receiving, I think, like, not like not all the time, like, if
It's
it's in
kind
like
of
the
like the sleep thing too, because it's like if you're trying too hard, you're trying to force yourself to sleep, you're not gonna fucking sleep. So if you're trying to
yeah,
force a friendship or a relationship of any sort and it's
yeah,
not budging, like you're gonna make it worse. Just
exactly,
let it be. Let
exactly.
it like surrender, back off.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that's not necessarily like the easiest thing to do all the time,
No, it's the
obviously, but it's
hardest.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, but it's like, but yeah, it's just, that's true though. I've definitely seen a little bit of that kind of stuff this year too. So that's
Yeah,
funny you
which
mention
makes
it.
sense. Like you're fucking suffering with your mental health and rest. Like how could anyone who
Yeah.
is even like understanding expect you to be this like mega present friend while juggling career, while juggling this and not sleeping? It's like,
Yeah, it was
once you
crazy.
understand that, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, this isn't about me. She just hasn't fucking slept in a month. Like,
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
my
exactly.
fucking God.
But yeah, I mean, I really do see the, like, genuinely, I see like the beauty in the whole experience now. And that's, I just see like, like I said earlier, I'm just like able to appreciate like all of the little things, and like other mishaps that happen in life. Like,
That's
I'm
nothing.
basically just like, I'm just like, all right, like, all good. But yeah,
Ain't shit. Yeah. Wow.
yeah,
God. Well, I'm gonna pivot real quick because I have some other
sure,
questions for you,
yeah,
but
definitely.
that's a fucking trip. I'm like, I still can't believe you went through that. And like very
I know,
quietly. That's
very
fucking
quietly.
wild.
Yeah, I didn't tell,
Very fucking wild.
and it was wild.
I mean, I guess that is a good pivot. You have such a wildly supportive, like loving fanship, like what, I don't even know what to call them. They're like your fans and followers and cult of REZZ, like whatever I forget what they're called these days,
Yeah.
but like they're so they're so loving and so positive. From anything I see, it's just like they fucking love you, and it seems like they're very aligned with your energy and what you put out there, which is so beautiful. So it's like, even if you wanted to share, like, yo, I'm fucking having a hard time right now, and even sharing this, I'm sure so many people are going to be like feeling very seen and like compassionate and understanding. And even if you had to cancel a show because you haven't slept, they'll be like, I get it. I want REZZ to sleep. I want REZZ to rest.
I
So
know.
it's nice to have that.
I actually want to mention too that, like, I think some people would be like, "Oh, you should have just canceled it and take care of your health." And I could not agree more in regards to, like, yes, definitely. Like, I'm not proud that I don't know. It's hard. It's conflicting. I'm proud of myself because I pushed through and finished what I, signed up for. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It was really dangerous to like push those boundaries. I don't know whether I would like suggest that anyone pushes on their mental the way that I did. It's really conflicting. But at the time, like I
Would you
said,
do
I
it
had
again? Would you do
what
it
I
again?
do. What I do what again? Like,
Like, would, if knowing like what you went through, and if you could go
oh,
back,
okay,
would you have
okay.
canceled?
No, I wouldn't have, and that's because I don't regret anything in my life. Nothing. I don't regret anything. So
But if it happened again, if this came up again.
So here's the thing, it's not going to, because one of the things that I want to mention is that my whole touring schedule is different now. I will my whole team and everything about my project now is extremely strict ever since that experience. I mean, my team was petrified for me. Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
I know I'm explaining it, you know, in the most nutshell way I can on this conversation, but it was truly one of the most like horrifying times of my life, and my everyone around me was like petrified. Like
I'm sure, my God.
Yeah,
it was scary to watch someone you love like struggle like that.
And especially not to mention someone that was generally a very happy, optimistic like person. It's like everything got stripped from me. So like to see like even like, you know, my mom seeing me like on the phone like crying to her and like all this stuff, like she was like, what is happening, you know? But my point is like the whole touring schedule is different now. Well, I'll never put myself in that position again. I'll never put myself in the position to do like, you know, 18 tour stop date in a short span of time. Like I will never do it again. And like now, ever since then, my schedule has been a lot more chill. I'm doing only festivals here and there. Like for example, I got like Lollapalooza coming up in like 2 weeks. I'm genuinely so excited for that. Like I just did EDC a little bit ago.
You've got the balance going.
Yeah, the balance is going, and the balance is going to be a thing for the rest of my career now. Like I will never push myself like that again. Like that's the thing. It's like that's the way I'm going to move forward with this information and this experience, is that I know my limits, and I know that I'm not going to put myself in that position. You know what I'm saying? Because it was what I believe put me in that position in the first place was like me being unable to say no to all the opportunities that I was getting all the time. So I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like, how can I say no to this amount of money? How can I say no to this? Now I do not give a single shit about any of that, because I'm just like, I see now the importance of like how important it is that I am well, like that I'm mentally, physically well. And I definitely pushed myself for a really long time before I like fully realized that, which I saw Skrillex post this one thing once, and I don't remember the exact quote that he said, but it was something along the lines of like, life will speak to you in whispers, but if you don't listen, it'll like fucking like smash you like a wave or something like that. Like I don't remember the exact thing that he said, but he said something like that. And
so true.
And it's so true. And I think for a long time, life was whispering at me that I need to like slow down, that I need to like balance and focus on like, you know, other things that are important to me, because there's so many things that are important to me, not just like my career, you know what I mean? And so now, by the way, I'm very fortunate because not everyone gets the luxury of even choosing their schedule or choosing the amount of time they have off. I'm very aware, I'm extremely lucky that now I have the option to really slow down, and like the rest of my year is like really chill. And 2023, I just had a call about it with my team yesterday, and it was all of just, once again, we're going to be doing one-off festivals. We're going to be throwing like occasional like big kind of curated events of my own, and that's going to be it. It's going to be maybe 30 shows tops a year, as opposed to like, you know, 70, 80. Like you know what I mean? It's just all going to be condensed.
There's this one podcast and like self-helpy whatever thing that I listen to, and one of the things I was actually listening to it earlier today, just when I was getting ready, I had it on. And it was all about like manifesting, but more like neuroplasticity and like psychology stuff. But one of them was about the power of saying no and how that helps you with like happiness and abundance in life. And when you're in operating that place of like, I have to say yes to everything because like, you know, it's kind of a like, I may not get this again, or I have to take advantage of this now, because if I don't take advantage of it now, maybe it won't come later.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about it is saying no is kind of showing yourself and, you know, the universe or whatever you want to like look at the world, like whatever life belief systems you have. But it's basically saying like, you know what, this is too much. And I know that will come in another way. So I'm going to say no now because that's what I need now, but I know it'll come back another way. So I'm not tripping. It's fine. And I've totally experienced that when I'm like, I was supposed to do a tour earlier this year, and I have like my, you know, whatever personal shit. My grandmother is like not well, and she's been not well for a long time. And I just like knew, I'm like, it's that the time is coming and there's like way too much shit going on. COVID was like super bad. And I think this was the beginning of the year. And I was like, this is not the right time for me to be gone for a month straight. It was like
Mm-hmm.
21
Yeah.
shows in a month. And I was like, this is not a smart time for me to be out. And I felt so guilty because normally it was like, how could I say no? How can I say no to the money, to the opportunity, to the exposure,
Yeah.
to the this, to the that? And I have so much trouble saying no. But I was like, I know this is the right thing to do, so I have to say no. And I know I'll be taken care of in another way. And then literally the next day after I pulled off, so many incredible work opportunities came in that was making double the amount of money of the whole tour for one day of work. Like fucking all these beautiful
Hell yeah.
experiences that I had never had before, like, fly me to Paris, all these amazing things. And I'm like, fuck, that was the loudest sign from the universe that like,
Yeah.
good, here's your reward for saying no. Here's your reward
Yeah.
for doing what is right for you, for your life, for your health, for your family, for whatever, you need to do. And I think that's such an important lesson that a lot of people don't get a chance to learn because they have to say yes most of the time. And it's so scary to say no. And there's so much more at risk to say no. But I think it's just such an important lesson about boundaries that we have for ourselves, expectations we have for ourselves, for our health, for
Yeah.
our wellness, all that shit. It's just so, so important.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I do think that saying no is like extremely, extremely, extremely important. I just think during the time that my tour was happening, it was almost like my value, like the other values I had, like such as like pushing through and kind of going through with my commitments, it was like louder at the time. And now I see like I'm like,
Right.
yeah, but now I see it's like very important. Like clearly that has to do with having really high standards for myself, which I'm like, all right,
Totally.
calm the fuck down. Like, you know what I mean? Now I'm just like, it's okay to like say no to shit in the future. And like I've already said no to so much shit for like
Or just
next year. Like
find a
it's
balance.
crazy.
It doesn't need to
Yeah.
be no straight up, I'm not doing the thing. It's like maybe it's
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing the thing that way. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
adjusting it.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No doubt about that. Yeah, exactly. And also, about your grandma thing, same. I actually forgot to mention that during that tour as well, on top of the mental chaos that I was dealing with, my grandma, who is from Ukraine, had to like my grandma and all my family in Ukraine had to evacuate from their homes
I
and
didn't know
like
you had
flee.
family over there. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, and my grandma has Alzheimer's, and
Mine has
so she
dementia.
yeah, so
It's
it's the same
rough.
thing, yeah, dementia, yeah, so she has dementia. Sorry, I don't know if is that the same thing,
It's
Alzheimer's and dementia.
they're different
Yeah.
diseases, but it's like the same like symptoms.
Yeah, so same with
So
my grandma. She also unfortunately is experiencing that as well, and it got highly more triggered after the the
yeah,
evacuation of Ukraine.
yeah.
So
The
it was,
change of
yeah,
the change of environment is like really not good for
yeah, it
that
was,
kind of mental state.
yeah, it was just
I'm
like
sorry.
absolute chaos. Yeah, I'm sorry as well.
Yeah,
Definitely, life is crazy, like
it's fucking wild.
life will throw random shit at everyone's direction, like
That's the
super
other thing
unpredictable.
that's such a trip to me because like I mean, the world has always had shit going on, right? There's always been curveballs. There's always been like fucked up stuff happening and wars and terrible things. But I feel like the last few years has been a very odd level of shit happening that is like not normal. And then
Yeah,
we all have a front row seat because we're all on social media observing this constantly, consuming it. And it's
yeah,
so wild that we're expected to kind of like witness this and then
yeah,
go about life like nothing's fucking wrong. It's like,
yeah,
how do we find the balance there? How do you find the balance in having a hard time processing what's happening and still be like productive and still nurture your relationships and still take care of your mental health? It's like, I don't know, how do you balance? I'm still trying to figure it out.
yeah. I mean, I think without question, like with all the stuff that's constantly happening in the world that we're like seeing on the internet and everything so easily, I think without question it's affecting like the energy in the world, whether you want to like to like be super aware of it or not. Like I think like everyone's definitely been affected by it and like in their own way. And I mean, I don't know. I guess how you asked how I go about that, or what's the
Yeah,
main
like how do
question?
you, I guess, how do you juggle and find balance with dealing with, heavy realities, mental health
Yeah.
struggles, being productive, all the other things that come in life, like the good, the bad, the responsibilities. Like, are you a kind of, I'm going to focus on this and put my all into this right now, and then once that's handled, I'm going to move this way, or do you just give little bits everywhere?
I definitely like to I definitely like to try and take things like just simply one day at a time and like one
Mhm.
moment at a time. And also just like do little things every day that like bring joy to you. And also for example, like I have two Red Rock shows coming up in October, and
Mhm.
like the I have to like make like two completely unique sets, and like one of the sets is going to be this like nightmare on REZZ Street. It's like this like kind of Halloween mix thing that I do. And it's going to be themed in that way. And so it's been like kind of like a lot of work, and for a bit I was like procrastinating it, but then I was like, no, like I need to like start putting in like little bits of work every day on this, because if I don't, then like the stress is just going to keep building. So it's
Yeah.
kind of just like making decisions that will benefit you tomorrow and benefit you the next
Right.
day, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just taking things like one step at a time and like not being too hard on yourself along the way.
Yeah.
So now I'm like finished that one set, because I was like
No, it's
working.
great.
Yeah, because I was like working at it for like the past like few weeks, like once, like even just like an hour a day, like, you know what I mean, like working on something, or like it really is just like the little things like that. I think I think in order to like build happiness or build success or like build any sort of like fortune in any capacity, it's just like taking those little steps like every day or as many days as you can. Sometimes you will not want to do shit. Like some
Yeah.
days, like some, and that's okay too. That's the other thing too, is like knowing that like like the day that you don't want to do shit and you just sit on your ass, that's fine too. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
That's
it's
productive in a
just,
way because recovery is
yeah,
productive. Rest is
hugely,
productive.
yeah. It's just knowing kind of like just when to do things and when like to like work like in a smart way, I guess, and like
Hmm.
and know when to like not, and all that stuff.
Do you deal with any like insecurities and self doubt stuff? And if so, if you're one of the magical people in the world that doesn't, then we could skip it. But if so, how do you deal?
I really, really try not to speak negative about myself. I actually have become, if anything, a lot more comfortable and confident in myself in a lot of ways than ever before. For example, I wear my hair naturally now. That's like
I
a
know, we
really,
love it.
it's thank you. It's a really like massive change for me. I used to
Yeah.
literally straighten my hair every single day for like 15 years. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's like I obviously wasn't happy with what I naturally had going on, and like
Hmm.
that's fine. Like I think like I don't wear makeup, but I think it's great when people wear. I love like
Yeah.
makeup. I love like when people do cool shit with their hair and like style their hair. All that's amazing. But the thing was like I literally would avoid like living my life because my hair might get curly. Like literally, it
Oh
was
wow.
like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like I don't want to go swimming because if I go swimming, my hair's gonna be curly. And I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
re-straighten my hair. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then I
Yeah.
started randomly wearing my hair naturally in like 2021, and like it's changed my fucking life. Like literally,
Hmm.
like fully. Like now I don't have to do shit. Like I literally didn't even put shit in my hair, like nothing.
It's
It's just
so
like,
healthy now. My God.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. I just like randomly I just tried something new, and I was like, "Oh, this actually feels like very pleasant." And
Mm.
I think definitely I've been fortunate to say that I don't think I struggle too much with like insecurity stuff fully. I think now more than ever I'm kind of just like pretty content. Like even I'm the way to even say that too is like I'm starting a label, right? And in this label
Oh,
I'm going to be
great.
having a bunch of music on it that's like mid-tempo style, like a lot of stuff that sounds like a lot of the stuff that I make. If you were to ask me to do that when I was 22, I'd be like hell no, because I was too like, if anything, I was insecure then because I was like, I don't want
Hmm.
everyone to like make stuff that sounds like me and like all this stuff, like, you know what I mean. Now I'm
Right.
just like, please, like make everything. Like, I'll put it. I'm gonna play it. Like, you know what I mean. Like, I'm just in a
Yeah.
place now where I
Because you're
don't really care.
settled.
Yeah, I feel like definitely pretty like fulfilled. I definitely feel pretty fulfilled, and like I think for the most part, I just really I really like avoid negative like self-talk. Like it's like you see it happen all the time. Like people are constantly talking badly about themselves, like, oh, like I look stupid, or like, oh, like my hair looks stupid, or like
Some
I
shit,
look,
yeah.
yeah, like I look fat, or like I look skinny, or like I look whatever, and like all this stuff. Like I try to just like not really
Nah.
speak like that. You know what I mean? Like
Do
I
you
really just try my best to not do that.
Okay, this is always my favorite question for everybody. What's your dream creation zone? So you can basically, there's no limitations. It could be like underwater on the moon. There could be walls made of candy. There could be fucking puppy dogs running everywhere. And like, I don't know, like, what would be the most inspiring place for you to be to create?
Oh wow, this is such an interesting question, and it's so funny because my answer, the first thing that comes to my mind is the most boring, anticlimactic answer you'll ever hear in your entire fucking interview, like
What is
with
it? Your
anyone.
house? your,
It
your room where you're
is
at right now?
literally
God damn
it's
it.
literally just me sitting on the couch with my headphones on with my laptop on my lap. That's it. That's literally, that's like, I know
Really?
it's the most
You could have
boring
anything.
ass. Yes, I know it's the most boring ass answer,
What?
but like it's just what feels and has what has always felt most comfortable. Like I've been put in like studios, like for example, when I collaborated with like Dead Mouse, like was in his studio and like so fucking insane and crazy. I did not like to be in there. Like it was
Mm,
not like something that like, I mean, you asked the question, so like aside from like that very basic boring ass answer, I think like my only other thing would be like, yeah, see, I don't even know.
yeah.
It's like that doesn't even come into my mind because like all I'm thinking is like all I'm thinking is what's like most comfortable for me to be like
Yeah, if that's
to
most
work.
comfortable, if
Yeah,
that's
that's
most
literally
comfortable, then
is.
that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Would I want to go to the moon? Yes, I actually. You know, it's actually funny. Grimes. One time, I asked her. I randomly texted her a question, being like, how long would it take me to get to the moon if I wanted to get there?" And she said something like, I forget what she said. She's like, literally or figuratively, and she's like, I think it could take about like 8 days to get there. And then she's like, if you want, I can like. She like literally like tried. She like
Trying to get a
basically
real
like,
answer.
yeah, no, like she was like, I can probably get you there. Like she literally said that she could
Oh
probably
my
help
god.
me get to the moon. Yeah, like, and it was like, and I was like, wow. So yeah, of course being on the moon sounds like pretty epic, but like,
You can have your couch on the moon. That's an option.
yeah, maybe like chilling on the moon. Okay, chilling on the moon with my couch, with my laptop on my lap, and my girlfriend drawing on her iPad next to me. That would be the most ideal situation because it's like it brings me peace for some reason when she's drawing. So
Mm,
when she's drawing, I would be at peace, even though I'm on the moon. That's what I would want. Yeah.
that's
A nice
nice.
couch and just chilling, and that would be it.
Just
Yeah.
a casual couch on the moon. That's chill. I'm into that. I'm into that. So you have a label that you're starting or have started. It's
Yeah.
in the
Starting.
works.
Yeah.
Label coming up. You've got your Red Rocks show. Are you working on a new project right now, or are you just kind of like music wise, or are you just kind of like going with the flow?
I'm working on like I just finished a song with Alice Glass, and I'm going
Mm,
to definitely put that out in a few months. Probably put out like a random like single of mine that's just like an instrumental thing. But yeah, a lot of the work right now is definitely going through figuring out like the branding for the label, artists that I would want on the label, kind of music I'd want to release on it. There's not like any like particular like project album or EP that I'm like working towards, but that's when I'm working on an album in general, I'm never really working with the intention of making an album. What I end up doing is just making a bunch of songs, and I'm like, oh, this is an album now. Like, you know what I
right,
mean?
right, right,
So
right.
maybe technically I could be working on an album right now.
Who knows?
I don't know what it's gonna end up being. It might end up
Yeah.
being random singles that I put out. It might end up being an EP I put out. I don't know, but basically I'm just doing that work wise and just
I mean, that's
also
a
just
lot. So
really, yeah, and also just trying to like chill and like live a balanced life too. You know what I mean? So that's
yeah,
basically
yeah,
a lot of what I'm doing.
that's
Yeah.
great. Any a bunch of people ask this. Do you have any advice for people who want to get into producing music?
Yeah. I mean, I there was like a couple things that I did. There was like a lot of trial and error with like messing around with like Ableton or like whatever software you have. But aside from that, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I mean, honestly, YouTube has been like like such an informative thing for me on so many different like spectrums of life, whether it be like production, whether it be like life stuff, whatever. So I would definitely just suggest to people to get a some kind of software, whether it be Ableton, whatever you want to use. Does not matter what you use because they all do the same shit, whatever. But I love Ableton. That's just like my favorite. But get something like that, mess around, just literally trial and error, mess around, watch some videos. Also, listen to a bunch of music that you love to understand and dissect what you love about those songs and like what you love about it, whether it be like you love the pace of the music or you love the drums, you love the vocals, you love the melodies and how they make you feel and all this stuff. And then like just kind of like being observant of all that stuff and then making hopefully your own favorite music you've ever heard basically by doing that. And definitely staying consistent. Huge is staying consistent. It's not something, it's just like working out. It's like, what's the point of working out for like 1 week, you know, like
Yeah.
and then stopping? Like if you got to be consistent and like try and commit to at least a certain amount of time per day, even if it's like a small amount of time. Just working on it every day. That's what I did. When I first started making music, I was working on music 10 hours a day for like 2 years. Like, yeah, 10 hours a day. All I did, that's literally it. I barely was doing anything else. But yeah, like consistency with it and just kind of like messing around. And a lot of happy accidents happen, and to be aware of that. Like, not everything is intentional. Like, you can't. I think that's a good thing that I would say too, is like a lot of shit that I make sometimes just like a happy accident. I'm like, oh, that accidentally sounds cool. I'm gonna use that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's fine.
That's all very fucking helpful shit. So wonderful. Any final thoughts? Any like little tidbits of advice? I feel like this is all so full of like advice already, but any last thoughts?
I mean, I could literally go on for hours in regards to talking about advice, especially in like the music industry and like all of that. But
maybe more focused on like on identity and people being okay with being themselves, or you know, chasing their whatever they want to do with their lives or anything like that.
My literal probably main advice I think right now would just be like to really pay attention to the signs. Like, pay attention to how things make you feel. And try to avoid those things and try to like accumulate more of the things that make you feel well. And definitely super pointless to compare yourself to anyone, because literally everyone, no matter what, even the people who you think are like at the top or like maybe have like more money or more status or whatever, like that doesn't mean they're like fucking like having a great time in their mind.
Yeah.
Like this, it's really pointless to like compare always. And everyone has their own unique situation and their own unique problems, and it's pointless to compare. And yeah, and try not to talk negatively about yourself. Like, pay attention to how you speak about yourself. That would be like one of my main things too, is like, what are you saying about yourself on a day-to-day basis? Like, oh, like I'm shit, like I'm like I'm like whatever. Or are you saying like I'm a fucking boss and like I'm gonna fucking like win at everything? Like, what are you saying? You know? Just pay attention. Yeah.
No, that's
That'd
so
be
important. Those are fantastic little bits. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much. This was fucking great. I'm like, this was really wonderful. Thank you for sharing all this like private shit too.
Yeah, no worries. I figured that I wanted to share it in some way, but then I didn't want it to like I didn't want to do the whole like big black post with white letters like talking about like everything like for this specific like situation.
Yeah.
So I just decided like I'm just gonna like casually speak in an interview about it, and just kind of like whoever is interested will be interested, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much. I'm psyched to see what's to come. I'm psyched for the label and all the other things.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Yeah. Well, don't hang up.
Yep.
But we're gonna do a quick fake bye that I'm gonna splice in there. All right. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon.
So wait, now do I say bye?
Yes, you say bye.
Oh.
Just say bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're just gonna put that in there.